All right. From what I was able to garner, we talked before about some of the things that Dive likes: high ground, map control, and staging, things like that. So we're going to be hoping to look for those types of things. You won't really see the whole high ground and staging being used to. I mean, obviously it's what they want, and it's on like things like control. It's just not like it is on escort. It's a bit different because control is just naturally forces you to play a bit brawly. But the real thing you're gonna see, I think most of these teams try and do is so well let's look at their comp. What kind of comp are they playing? Mayhem. I mean,
I'm guessing stationary for the
Yeah, it's
Orisa
like
and the supports.
exactly. So we talked about what are how dive can the different things that dive wants to look for in attacking a target. What were some of those things?
They want to
Uh,
attack from all angles.
Mm-hmm.
you want to look for people out of position.
Uh-huh. That's one. What's the other one?
Diana, no cooldowns, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. What's one more? What was the other way besides picking someone apart? Just think logically, right? If they're not apart, then what are they?
Separate.
That's what apart means.
So splitting the team.
Right, separate the team, right? So that's the big thing that you're going to see a lot of these teams do with their dies. It's not necessarily pick someone apart because as you can see, like with the Mayhem's comp, they're going to they spread out when they can, but they're not easily diveable. So you're going to see them kind of try and create. You're going to try and see like Defiant create Mayhem in order to force Mayhem to make a mistake. Ironically, so.
3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
So as we talked about before, what are the stages of a fight?
Scouting,
Poke.
hmm
combat.
Yep. And scouting is of the utmost importance to dive. So you should always see some parts of the dive comp try and be gathering information because that helps the team know where to rotate and know where to set up for the dive if they can. Alright, so we can see how the dive is playing, right? They they aren't really engaging because they're looking for something, right? This is dive. They're looking for an opportunity. They're looking to see, okay, how are they going to rotate? You know, is anyone out of position? How are they playing, right? Dive. They're just gathering information right now. And control point doesn't unlock till 14 seconds, so nothing has to happen for 14 seconds. They are perfectly fine with just sitting here and chilling for 14 seconds. They're just waiting on an opportunity and seeing if they maybe do we need to create an opportunity, or are they just giving us one? That's what they're deciding right now. Now we'll see later because I really don't like how Logic's the Defiant Tracer is playing. He's playing like with the dive heroes. We're going to take a look at a Philly map later where you'll see Carpe ain't nowhere near a C. They are playing to pincer and to surround, and that's the kind of dive that I like. And I think Logics will do it every now and then, but I like the the dive teams that just do a straight up complete surround. All right. So now they know that. Just 1 second. So now they know. Well, what do they know? What do they know has to happen soon? What does Defiant know that Mayhem has to do soon?
Touch point.
Right. So you see the monkey getting ready for whenever they have to move. This is where so initially they didn't start to surround because there was no way for them to surround because the nature of control is both teams reach the middle at the same time. Um, so there's no way to get that surround going because you just physically can't unless you can move around the map while they sit up here, but that takes time and possibly a pick can happen, especially with halts, helix rocket, May right click, Ana sleep, nade, that having your team cross open areas can be pretty dangerous. So they decide to just create their own surround with um, just just the fact that knowing that naturally they have to touch point. So they're going to just naturally create a surround right now. And if Mayhem wants to win the game, they have to eventually come to this point. Alright. So you can already see the surround happen on the Orisa. So you can see it. Obviously, you can just hear the comms. You can see it being called, right? Oh, Orisa's by herself. Let's do something about it. Alright. So the team Mayhem reacts as well. They force Orisa's fortify out, which is that's a great thing. The diva peels, the May peels, right? So this is just what bunker comps do. They have to peel for the tanks. They have specific heroes that are here in charge of peeling for tanks. Now, what Mayhem's going to want to do is, so this is kind of what you would talk about catching the dive and really they didn't catch anything because catching the dive once says you have to soak up the dive cooldowns and escape from it, and like you want them to use your cooldowns on you, and then you want to retaliate because dive is weakest after you use cooldowns. Right after you use your cooldowns, then that's when you want to hit dive. And so, a good thing about what we just saw is that Defiant like engaged the way you would want to because they didn't use any cooldowns, right? The Tracer was already waiting and Monkey was already waiting. So it's like the same thing as we would do on like Route 66 gas station, drop from high ground. In order to not use cooldowns, they were able to just walk in and not use cooldown. So Defiant won the best trade-off here. That initial poke, they won that, I would say, because they got a really powerful cooldown out in Orisa Fortify, and they didn't use jump, and Tracer still has like 2 blinks left. So it's a pretty good trade for as far as dive's concerned, because both of those are going to be back up way faster than Orisa Fortify. I think that's 8 or 10 seconds now. So you can do 2 Winston jumps in that time, and you'll have all your blinks back before that happens. So it's a pretty good trade for dive. So the Orisa is going to be forced to back off here. Monkey's going to have to as well because he can't. Monkey doesn't stay in this kind of situation for long. He needs to be getting out, and so he will. He just did his job, and so now he leaves. And so now, as far as point is concerned, what is the beauty and the curse? The beauty of Mayhem's comp and the curse of Defiance comp, as far as point is concerned.
Defiant they have to use their cooldowns to get away from point, while Mayhem, they're pretty close, so they can get on the point pretty much fast.
Exactly. Yep. Watch what we're about to see. See the Orisa? So all she has to do is touch the edge of point, and she can cap it all by herself. This this is such a good tactic, and this is something that we'll be doing a lot when, especially if we're going against stationary comps, is going against stationary comps and just against like any comp that we want to force a reaction out of. Dive is a good comp that you want to force a reaction out of because they don't want to react unless they want to react. But this forces them to do something at some point, right? She can just stand here on point all day. And so now, unfortunately, the Diva has to touch in this situation, right? Because she has DM. Monkey can't do this, really, because he has nothing. You don't want to use Bubble just to block just to block spam damage. So Diva's the one who has to do it. She's not, I mean, she's not good at it at all, like, as far as Diva, the character, simply because her DM will run out and then her head hitbox is the size of her body. So, but it's what they have to do. So you're going to see her duck and weave in between, that, that wall that she's on right now, and just touch point, get off point, touch point, and just try and slow the progress as much as she can. And what are they waiting for, right? Because we talked about, um, the tanks are there to just they make space and to live as long as possible. But at some point there's a breaking point, right? You can't stay in there forever as dive tanks. Like there is a time limit that this diva just will no longer be able to hold this point. So what are they waiting for? We talked about it's the idea of pressure.
Logics.
Mm-hmm. Right. And what is Logic's presence, and what are they waiting for with Logic's really?
Waiting for him to force out a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Waiting on him to force out a mistake and to relieve pressure from, the main tanks and the off tank. Right. This diva doesn't want to stay here forever. She's being shot at, so she needs someone on her team to be shooting in another direction so she can relieve the pressure off of her. So this is what, the tempo shift kind of stuff. Mayhem's got a big of it now. They've recovered from the initial attack on the Orisa. I mean, not really. Like they did good. You see, the Orisa can't really peek, even though she has the stay ability. But she's low. She can't really peek. I'm sure Anna's trying to get to her, but I imagine she's maybe dodging Soldier and Zenyatta orbs too. So she can't really peek. I'm sure she's trying to get to her, and she just had to nade herself. I'm not sure why. Tracer on her.
The soldier.
That's a mistake, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Her Orisa certainly needed that, and she didn't. I mean, yeah, that's a mistake. Alright. So we saw them. We just saw a. What kind of dive is this called? We talked about the two. Soft or hard? Remember we
I
talked
mean,
about we talked about soft dives.
I guess you could argue both because Fate's at quarter health.
Well, it's not soft or hard dive doesn't really mean uh anything as far as the opponent is concerned. It's more of what you do. Depends on the soft or hard dive.
I would kind of say it would be hard
Mm-hmm.
Why's that?
because Monkey had to use a cooldown.
Exactly. So they're committing. Hard dive, think of it as we're committing. We are going in for the kill. Who are they going in for the kill on?
Tracer.
Yep. Wait, who?
Logics? Tracer?
Who are they? Who
Oh,
are
my bad.
Defiant? Who is Defiant trying to kill?
The Orisa.
Yep. And generally, you don't call a dive on a main tank, but if they're out of armor or low, that's certainly a dive because they're nothing more than a squishy at that point. So you can see, Logix is just looking for an opportunity lurking. That's what Tracer does. And then Soldier probably called this dive actually. Like he's shooting at her. He got the Orisa was discorded. Soldier was pelting it with bullets. I bet you Soldier probably called this dive. And then Logix and Monkey, you can see that they collapsed on her. But because of Fortify, they don't get the kill. But they force out, they do force out Fortify. But now, right, the hard dive fails. This is why it's a commitment. It's dangerous. Now, I would say Beast made the mistake of going back into a Mei. He may or may not have known where the Mei was. I don't know. But he goes back into the Mei, and that ends up getting him killed. But yeah, hard dive is a commitment. You're trying to kill someone, and we saw there that they hard dove the Orisa. right? So we could see during just that one fight, they, we talked about the other day about Dive being a patient comp. They originally just walked up to the Orisa, forced out a cooldown, and they didn't chase. They just left, right? Um, because it forced out a pretty good cooldown, and you see that Lodix was in the back, waiting and lurking, trying to make something happen. He was poking. You had Diva stalling point near a wall, right? So she can duck and weave behind a point. And he had Soldier up here off angling. He had Zenyatta and Brig over there, also off angling. So you've got 1, 2, 3 angles of attack, and then Winston just lurking and waiting on someone to make a dive call. Now he could have done anything else. Like he could have, jumped up here and also taken some aggro, right? So you've got 4 different directions of chaos going. So they're not rushing this thing. They're just methodically trying to pick them apart. And so in the multiple angles of attack is what leads to all this. And it eventually led to the Orisa could have died, certainly. That could have gone the other way. The Discord fell off of her really quick, like just before the dive got there, unfortunately. So if that Discord stays on, she probably dies. But she was able to get the Discord off, and so they didn't quite get the kill. So now they're down Monkey, but they can't. Actually, they could just leave. I'm not sure what they're. I don't remember what they're going to do. If I were to look at the situation and we just lost our Monkey in this point, I would probably just say we could just leave because no one on their team is low, and we can't do anything without a main tank because every one of our heroes just face tanks damage. We don't have a shield. They do, so it's going to be extremely hard for us to get a pick. Like us being the comp that we are, Zenyatta and Brig could just leave, Tracer can leave, Soldier can just leave, Diva can just leave. But also, what do they have advantage of that the enemy team can't take? They can't take advantage of it, but
High
Defiant
ground.
can, right? High ground and mobility. No matter what, Mayhem can't get to any one of these heroes. They can't travel. They're a stationary comp. So it's also like we call, you can stay in here and just poke for days until your main tank gets back. That's also a choice. That's probably what they're going to elect to do because they know that they can't be forced out of any of these positions. Orisa has to stay bottom. Brig's not going to walk up, and it's going to take her ages. Ana can't do anything. May can't really do anything. Like, they can't go kill anyone else, like any of these guys. So they can just kind of chill. And see, they're playing they decide they elect to just stall and stall at the point, and that's all they're doing. We have Orb on Diva to help her survive a bit, and she's going to hide near that wall, and she's just going to try and stall point until Monkey gets back. And even if they flip point over, at least they stalled it for another 5 seconds, and they don't give us much percentage. So Monkey's almost back. And then this whole time, Tracer's just been lurking in the back, finding an opportunity, and she found one finally, right? Like this whole time, point hasn't been flipped. They've been stalling point, they've been biding their time, they've been chilling. They've just been poking, right? There's nothing aggressive about dive. Like, you don't need to press W into them like you would a Reinhardt comp. It's a totally different methodology to it. They're just sitting around and waiting for something to happen and forcing things to happen. And now they're up 1, so they hard commit. Now, the advantage of winning point is that you get to decide where you want to take the fight. And Dive loves that. They thrive off of map control. So now they have all of this point to work with, and that's what they love. And as we said earlier, someone on the Dive team is always scouting. We see Winston in the window, and he's going to be telling his team, hey, where are they going? So we see that they're grouped up. Unfortunate headshot. So now they're probably already in immediate stall mode. Because now Mayhem can just walk up the point and they have more firepower than dive. So now they're probably, I would imagine we would see a tank rotation here, or just flat out stalling until Tracer gets back, because they can, right? Because they have abilities to just get away when they want to. So one tank can be controlling point, then he can leave, and then the other tank steps on point, he can leave, and the other thing, you rotate like that. But they only have rigs in, so not a lot of heals, so they probably can't really do that well. They can probably do it once or twice, and then they have to kind of just forget the touch point again, because they just can't out sustain. I wasn't looking at ultimates, so yeah, primal. He did have primal, so that yeah, that's a gamble you take.
I think he more popped it because he was going to die otherwise, though.
You might be right. Let's see.
He took a lot of damage as soon as he jumped up top.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was intentional too. Like he had planned on using it this fight. Which is so when you have control of the point, you want to pop ults in sequence like this. Like it's worth it to pop your ults if it's going to if you think one, it's going to win you the fight. Two, if it gives you a lot more capture percentage, even if you're even in a losing fight. If you think you can get 10 or 15 more capture percentage out of it, certainly pop your ults because that's huge. And so whether they thought they could win this fight or not, Primal, Bomb, Trance are all good ults to pop just to hold the point for another 5 seconds. Alright, so Logix is back. And he took one with him. So it's still an even fight. You definitely stay and fight this at this point. They lost their Orisa as well, which means that the bunker comp can't really touch point either. So now it's just kind of we have to fight to win because we can't use our force them to do something strat because so by touching point because we can't touch point anymore. May can't do it because there's a soldier on high ground, so soldier's is going to just helix her face. Yeah, there's no one on their team that can effectively do that, so they have to figure out a way to win this fight by killing the enemy team. And they decide to rush the brig. Did she get called that she was low? Don't know.
Get out of my way.
She calls the anti. Well, anti-nade kills her there. Yeah, so you see that they're completely ignoring point because they know they can't stay on point. So now they're going for the kills. So they just started diving in one person after the other, and they used brig the brig rally because it gives you a speed boost. So they used her like a Lucio there and sped on to the enemy team. So that's pretty smart. And now you should just see them in full stall mode. Yeah, he jumps in there just to stall for a bit. He knows he can't win that. And then Logix touches, yeah. So they got another 5% out of that. Alright, so now they get map control. And so now you're going to see them have a bit of trouble retaking because there's no space for them to like come back into point, and this is where Reinhardt's good because he has a shield, but Dive doesn't. So they have to figure out clever ways to get back on the point. And what did we say? We talked about it a while back. What was one of the ways you could get back onto a point as Dive when there's like chokes?
mean, in this situation, they could have Tracer go underneath and just touch.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, what's that called?
Misdirection.
Misdirection. And you'll see them use it. And then next fight, they may try that. I don't remember. I think they lose this first push. So Tracer's in already. So yeah, they tried it with Tracer. Oh, maybe it was this fight, 'cause I remember Monkey doing this. So yeah, that's exactly what they do. Their attention can't be everywhere. Oh yeah, they still lose this fight.
I've got you in my sights.
So yeah, they try it. Unfortunately, they're forced into a brawl situation, which Dive just doesn't win. Like, they can't, look at that, they're balled up, they can't win that. But, you know, they probably call it dry fight. Or not, as he tried to pulse. Yeah, we saw it there. You just, misdirection, send people in different directions. So they're gonna do it again. That forces a response out of the enemy team. They have to look the other direction. That forces Diva out the way, and then which left Brig exposed over there, so she had to use her bash cooldown to get to her team.
Cease your resistance.
And yeah, they were able to get her down. Yeah, and so that forces. Okay, that was a pretty cool sequence. Alright, so Tracer touches first. That forces a response out of Soldier, Diva. Yeah, that forces a response out of Soldier and Diva. And so the Brig went to go check. I guess she went to go scout. I'm not sure what she was doing all the way down there. But yeah. Well, I guess that wasn't really Diva leaving. That was just her being out of position. And they identified that. They identified this person out of position, and they go on to her. So they didn't get the kill, but they forced out Orisa Bongo, Diva boosters, and Onanade simply by capitalizing on the fact that Brig was out of position. Yeah, and you see Dive just can't win straight up like that. They needed something more there.
I've got you in my sights. I'm feeling unstoppable.
So this is a cool example of shifts in tempo. Alright. So who has tempo right now?
Mayhem.
What he said they have tempo.
Actually,
I just want to know what you're seeing.
well, before Logics went on, they had him pretty much surrounded.
Okay, that's true. You are correct, yeah. Before Logic touches points, Mayhem has tempo. Why would I say that Defiant has tempo now?
Because now they have to shift their attention.
Exactly. And that's the opening that they take to walk through this choke.
Cease your resistance.
So they still have the tempo, they still have the tempo. Tempo's gone. Alright, it left that quick. You know, it was fine until the Brig survived. Yes, they got cooldowns, but now they're face first into an Orisa Bongo. So they're up close, which is what what Mayhem wants to do, right? So you can, again, it's another example of catching the dive. They use movement cooldowns on a hard commit, and he gets, I think he gets Brig whip-shotted.
Cease.
Yeah, he gets Brig whip-shotted, which allows him to keep getting May frozen. Right? So Tempo was just gone that quick. It wasn't Defiant's favor until they caught the dive. They used their own cooldowns to back up the dive into a spot that's favorable for your team. And now you see Defiant. So they were soft. That's probably a soft reset, and you bait them into thinking you're resetting. It's a common tactic. You bait them into thinking you're resetting because that makes them press W, and then you diva bomb behind them, which means they're probably in some kind of open space at that point because they were trying to attack you. So again, now who has momentum?
Well, I guess I would probably end up saying Defiant because they had to use cooldown to shift tempo.
Yeah, they used an ultimate to shift tempo. Remember, Diva Bomb was one of those ultimates we talked about that can shift the tempo of a fight. It just it turns it because what did it force Mayhem to do right here?
It forced them to rotate and get behind corners.
And what does it look like? What is it?
They're separated.
They're completely separated, right? This is what Dive likes to see. They can choose any one of these guys to just go kill. So great Diva Bomb. It was a great tempo shift fake. They fake like they were soft resetting, then they threw a Diva Bomb behind them. So that's pretty smart, pretty nice, pretty fun to see. Who has tempo now?
Defiant. Well, probably Mayhem for getting that last ultimate out.
Yep. And so you see, like, they're trading tempos really fast, really rapidly. That's what separates the lower ranks from the higher ranks. The tempo you see is lost after a second. Uh, Mayhem had tempo first, then Defiant took it back by getting the brig, but then Mayhem caught the dive and killed the Winston. Then Defiant throws an ultimate, backs him up, separates him, gets the kill on Arista, takes the tempo. May counter tempos with her ults, right? So they're continuously shifting the tempo in these fights. And now they even have it more because they just nanoed the soldier. So at this point, you probably just leave. And they can win more ults. They forced out. He's probably, I don't know, she may have seen that she could force out trance there. I don't know. So yeah, Defiant still thinks they can win this, and they probably can. I probably would have called it after all those ults, but that's why they're pros and not me.
I've got you in my sights.
Yeah, so we can see where Lotus is playing, right? I criticized him at first, but yeah, he's also just being away from his team. He's picking on someone who's alone all the time, and just making whoever that alone person is, life is just hell. Like they can't focus on helping their team. And he actually gets a kill on this diva, I think, before she remax, which is what we should be looking for. That's awesome. So yeah, they bomb, they force out trance, good trade for them. Monkey's coming back.
The brig tried to come and help the diva, but now
Probably,
she's
yeah.
out.
I've got you in my sights.
I mean, she loses, and she gets assassinated here. Her shield's broken. Yeah, that's a good catch. So now they just come in onto the May over there. So yeah. Tracer's still back here, just being a nuisance away from her team. That was a pretty cool fight there. So they swapped the dive simply because if you saw when the Aristocomp came back in, what do they have to do in order to get a bit of map control? Do you remember what they did?
I mean, they switched. Didn't they switch over to dive?
Well, they're on dive now, but they weren't before.
Oh.
When they were the Aristocomp, what did they do every time they came inside main? They made a long rotation down here. with it being 85%, you can't do that anymore. And the reason they wanted to get that rotation was um, to uh, to take away some of the space that the dive team had gotten. Right, they wanted to get them off of these high grounds. Now, dive could have just simply just sat up on the other side of the high ground. I don't remember what they did, but that's the reason why they did it. They rotated all the way here to move their Zen, to move their brig away from that spot, and then they sat up down here. But you don't have time to do that right now, so they swapped dive. Okay. So I don't really see anything apparent that Mayhem would be going for right now. But what advantage does Defiant have at the moment?
Point.
Exactly. What does that mean?
They can just
Then-
stay back and play point.
What was that, Knox?
I was gonna say they know where they're gonna go.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you both are right. Right? They can use point as bait. Right? We talked about kill zone the other day. And just make point the kill zone because that's where they have to go, and the thing is that's where they're going. So that's what makes it so juicy. That's what makes it so appealing. When you know where they have to go, it creates such an easy kill zone. And you control the fight at that point. And you can pick and choose what you want to do. And smart on them to have their diva touch. So the core didn't have to. But what does that mean? Because
She's
diva has the
dive.
touch, what does that mean?
They can dive her.
They could. It wouldn't be the best option. Why? Think you can figure it out?
They don't have a DM to protect.
Well, I'll say for Defiant, it wouldn't be wise. I mean, Defiant has a DM, they have a diva too. But why wouldn't it be wise for Defiant to attack this diva right now?
Oh, she can just fly away.
Exactly. She can just leave. When the point is touched after 97%, you can still leave and it'll trigger overtime. So she's already done her job. She's triggered overtime. So if she gets dove, she's just going to fly away. And now you've lost. So it seems like they wanted. Well, this may not have been the kill zone, but they've obviously made this call here, probably because they noticed that Diva's here, the rest of their team's here. Forget Diva. This is a 6v5 right here. That's probably what they're saying, and that's probably why they committed on here, because this isn't the greatest spot to dive. But 6v5, you'll dive anywhere. Who cares? You're up one, so you just take the brawl at that point because you out DPS them. And Diva can't. I mean, she can come help if she wants to at this point. But she has to, for a second or two, she has to stay on point to trigger that overtime, and she did. So now she can, but they're already doing things right. They've already started their dive, so she's going to be late to the party even if she does come in. So Logic gets the pulse on the Winston. Rick Rowley couldn't save, right? They just take the fight to the core and just ignore the div. And Zenyatta's poking the diva a little bit. Yeah, but they just took the fight to the core instead. Like, they don't care that Mayhem has caught point because they can just touch point whenever they want to. So they don't care. This is called winning the fight. Ignore the point, just win the fight. They can touch point in a bit. They're cleaning up first. Yeah, you can see they have 4 people in there trying to kill 2 because it doesn't matter. They know they can touch point before the wick counts down. They go get the guaranteed 2 kill, and then deal with what's on point.
Time to raise my DPS.
Apagando.
That was a huge EMP though.
It was.
Ready for battle. 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Alright, so we see where Carpe is. He's top right with the Winston and the chorus to the left. And D.Va scouting. She's flying up and she's scouting. I love how like they have complete map control. Nowhere can Eternal go that Fusion won't know about it.
Time to raise my DPS.
So tell me who's vulnerable on the Eternal side.
There's Zen.
Alright. You can see.
Mercy.
Nah, you don't want to dive a Mercy. She can fly wherever she wants to.
Hmm.
You can just like Sado. Oh, he's third person peeking. That's smart. I want to know if he knew where the Zen was.
I think he heard him say that.
Yeah. Okay, he's third. Yeah, he's third person peeking. Okay, so you can see him down there. Okay. Yeah. He saw him rotate. So cool. He sees it, and watch the reaction from Fusion.
Time to raise my DPS.
Right? Remember we did that drill the other day? Get there at the same
Yeah.
time? Alright? They just collapse on the Zenyatta. Just straight up. It looks suicidal, it seems suicidal, it is suicidal. But they get the guaranteed kill onto a Zenyatta. And all three of them do have a movement cooldown to get away. So all they have to do at this point, they secure the kill. Now they just have to survive a bit and get out. Tracer can just recall, which he does. And then Monkey has Mega and Bubble. So all they have to do is survive a bit right now. And then use their movement cooldown to get out. So it's a risky dive, but you know they know that they have cover to hide behind, and that they will take damage, but they can survive if they play it right. Right. So they just survived. That's all they did. That was their goal. So they went on the dive and they survived, and now they call another dive right afterwards. Actually, it looks like. So this is the beauty of playing multiple lanes. Like Carpe went right back over here, so he's consistently just off angling, right? He's not with his team. He's going back off angling because now he can approach any dive target, and he's always on high ground. You see that he's always on either over there or over there because high ground lets you get to, especially as Tracer, anywhere that you want to on the map. If because you have 3 blinks, Tracer can blink from left to right with all her blinks, from one side of the map to the other. So he's just listening for dives right now. So they probably Tracer probably calls Hanzo, and Monkey doesn't dispute it, right? Trust your teammates. If they think they see someone, just go. Just go. Trust your teammates. And all that backs the Orisa combo to a corner, and they have nowhere to go. So what is this? What is this called? What they're doing after every fight? What's the first point of business of dive?
Positioning.
Staging.
Staging. That's the word I'm looking
Mm.
for. Right? They're staging after every fight. Um, you're setting up for the next dive. You're taking the high ground. You're getting map control. That's the first order of business at any dive when you're defense or attack. When you're attacking, it's harder because you have to go claim your space and you have to figure out how to get there safely as well. So on dive, it's incrementally harder. But on defense, when you win, you just get to set up because you own the space. So they're staging after every fight. So again, Carpe's up there, Winston's over here, Core is down here. Alright. So, they probably knew because they probably recognized Carpe was sitting up there both times. So they're going to flush him out, which is all right. So what does this look like right here? What advantage is there an advantage or disadvantage to either team right now that you can think that you can see?
I mean, both DPS on the Eternal side are now with the tanks, so they're they don't have any damage right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's very true. You have two DPS trying to scout one DPS, which leaves the core extremely weak. So Fusion could just straight up take this ball if they decided to. If they had Lucio, they probably would. They don't really have quite the mobility because no Lucio. Um, with like wanting to get soldier in position and all that. So it's like I don't know what's this core of Eternal. So yeah. So remember what we talked about? Well, what can you tell me about Eternal's movements while this is happening?
I'm guessing they're trying to put pressure on the Winston so that they can force him off a high ground.
They are that, but what else? What is their core? What is their core doing?
They're creating pressure so that their DPS can come back.
Getting warmer.
Making space.
What's the step below making space? You have losing space, you have making space, what's in the middle?
Poking phase.
Nah, as far as space. I mean, technically you're right, they are just poking. You're not wrong there. It's the same idea, it's in the same family of ideas. What do we tell you to do when Nox is on a Nox flank?
Playing slow.
Right. That's what they're doing. We can see that's exactly what they're doing. They're just chilling. So like we saw that 2 DPS went over there. That was probably called, and they probably said, "Okay, we're just gonna wait for you to get back." And they just sat there behind cover, so they don't take poke from a soldier. And then they all saw that, hey, we could probably poke the Winston. So their one objective was to poke the Winston and to stay safe behind cover. That's all they did until their DPS, until at least one of their DPS got back. Like tracers, like in at least in this comp, are probably either going to like go look for the other tracer to go duel and kill them, or to just be flanking and getting more value than the other tracer. So it's totally normal for the tracer not to return to routine. We see Carpe doing that all the time. And Soon is doing it here too. He's hunting for Carpe. But the Haunter came back, so now the core is making their move, right? So that communication and then knowing, okay, our DPS are on flanks, we need to not move. We need to stay safe. That's all. That's your objective, is to just stay safe and not die, and not give tons of ult charge. And that's what their objective was there. So now they can make money moves because their Haunter's back. They call a hard commits. So we see Fusion. They really like to take tempo into their own hands. They like to be the ones to be the tempo shifters quite frequently. Meaning they are pretty aggressive. So I'm trying to see what they see here. Did they try and go after the Zen again? I think he does. Now they catch the die really well, right? They shield bash him, they wood shot him away. So they caught the die, right? That's an example of catching the die. If he used the movement cooldown, we did things to not let that kill us. It's catching the dive. And Brig is a really good dive catcher. And we'll see, like good divas are really good dive catchers as well. Because they can loop the incoming Winston off of his trajectory with shift. And it really screws him up. We'll see it in a few. But they caught this dive and they murdered Sato here. I'm not sure. I guess he didn't know quite where Carpe was, would be my guess. And so he probably thought Carpe was in range, because we see Carpe trying to, right? I think Sato just engaged early here. But we see him and Diva try. Diva probably came in to try and save him. But Carpe came over here to, he probably heard the dive call and tried to come with it, but Sato just was early. Would be my guess here. Alright, so now Fusion, without their main tank, have to play the range game, have to play the safe game.
Wait for.
Carpe out duels soon. It's alright. We see, just like we saw in the Define Mayhem, right? Arista gets the touch for free. That's just what she can do. So maybe we might see Poco doing the same thing as the Defiance Diva. Stepping the point. Yeah, he does, right? So they're just stalling. They're just stalling, and what are they waiting on? What are some things that they're waiting on here?
A pick.
Yeah, my pick is one.
They're
Yeah,
waiting
pick
for
would-
mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're-
mistake.
Yeah. Who are they waiting on to make that happen?
On the Eternal or Fusion side,
Fusion. The Eternal just has to sit here and weather the storm, and they win. But Fusion has to make something happen. Who on their team is a person that makes something happen?
probably Tracer or Diva.
It's going to be Tracer. Diva is occupied holding point. That's her job right now. So we can we can see a consistent theme just out of the two teams we've seen. When tempo is lost, and the big tempo shift loser is losing your main tank, the Diva is the one to hold a corner of point and stall as best she can, and then you're in. So when it comes to this, so Nox, this is this is your time to shine when like when these situations happen, right? This is what the comp's just built around. The Tracer has to make something happen at this point. But always be okay as a team with giving ticks as you need to. If Carpe isn't able to find something right now, and that's because Poco can't stay there forever. His DM only lasts 2 seconds, and there's a Hanzo who does a lot of damage. If he storm arrows in between DMs, he's going to instantly demech Poco. Right? So there's not a lot of time here. But what do they have as a resource?
They got the last pick.
That's true. They did. What else do they have as a resource as far as giving Tracer more time to do her job, and as well subsequently would let their main tank have time to get back?
Matrix.
It's not a cooldown. It has nothing to do with the heroes.
They're on defense.
Not really. You're hearing it right now.
Being contested.
Yeah.
Points. What about point?
It's being contested.
Sure.
They're just touching point. Like they're just starting to take it.
What does that mean?
They got. I mean, they can let them have a tick or two.
Exactly. Using point progress as a resource, just like a cooldown. It's a resource just like anything else, like an ultimate, like a cooldown, right? If you need, because this is Carpe's time. Like, okay, Carpe, we need you to do something here. But as a team, to help him out, you guys can manage clock. You know, if you watch football, manage the clock. Poco can keep poking, getting on point, off a point, on point, off a point, as much as he needs to, all the way until 99.9%, right? But that clock's going to run out, and eventually Mayhem's going to, or the Eternal's going to keep to the point, right? So, but the team can buy time by contesting and uncontesting smartly to give the DPS, specifically Carpe, and like there is some onus on Soldier too. He's more of, he just seems like they have him playing more of a defensive soldier right now, which is fine, just play style preference. But like we saw Toronto Soldier just flanking all the time. Well, we really didn't look at him, but he was flanking a lot. But you know, manage the clock and give your tracer time to find something, and that's how you as a team help him, right? Uh, he just did one part. He killed the enemy tracer. That's good. So now they don't have someone on your back line. So maybe that means Soldier can go flank and help Carpe get secure a kill. Who knows? But you know, he has to do more. He has to what? Shift the tempo. He has to alleviate the pressure because all the pressure is on point right now, and that's not good because Diva will be the one that they're going to have to force off this point if they want to win. So they're going to be face tanking Diva, and we just said we don't want our Diva face tanking anything. She doesn't have a lot of resources to take damage for a long time. So yeah, Tracer needs to be the one to do something, but the team can help by smartly managing this point. And if that means just completely getting off of it until you get healed back up and then get back on it, then get back off, get healed back up, get on it, rinse and repeat until 99.9%, then that's what you do.
Time to raise my APM. No.
So he leaves to go probably, I would guess, like he's half HP. So like he said, he can't stay. So now they have to start using that time as a resource. I'd imagine he left to go get some Inspire Healing from Brig if she has it up, would be my guess. Um, he didn't need to fly over there to get Orb, but he probably went over to get more Inspire Healing from Brig. Which doesn't look like she has her Inspire up, so rip. And probably Soldier E as well. So now you see him, he's back on point, right? This is his job. This is all he's thinking about. And you see Carpe is trying to make something happen, right? This is how it should look. And whether you're successful or not isn't, don't worry about it. It's just what it is. But this is, when you're doing this kind of thing, this is what, as a team, needs to be your focus, right? The rest of the team, when we're down tempo, needs to be the one to stall while you give your DPS a chance to make a play.
Here you go.
He looks for a stick, he misses. Oh, you got the Brig, right? Boom. He just shot the tempo back into Fusion's favor. Now they're up one. That's Tracer doing her job. And now they know that Winston's back. Arissa's already like, nope, I want no part of this. Solo just straight up missed that jump. Yeah, I think he missed that jump. Yeah. So he sacrifices his life to get the Hanzo here.
Nerf this.
But yeah, that was Carpe and Poco doing what needed to be done, holding the point, and Carpe making a play, getting the job done. And now he's already halfway to another post bomb. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Again, we also said on Monday how it's not comp specific, right? It's just a strategy. It's not, hey, we have this comp just because we have, Tracer Soldier. If we run like Tracer Sombra, doesn't like things don't change. You can still run this style with different comps. It's just a style choice. So don't like think this can't work anywhere else. Like the same thing can apply to our Kree May comp. You know, if we lose Reinhardt, then the same thing happens with Zarya. Maybe we have Zarya on and off point, the core protecting Zarya while our Kree is uh, or Diva, while our Kree is around trying to make a play, right? The same thought process can happen. You guys just all, just call that play and work towards, and just know, okay, our core is going to stall while Nox goes and makes a play. Like, okay, that's the play. Let's work toward it. So it doesn't have to be dive specific. It can work with any comp. Just know that it's important just to know that that's the play, and how to implement it. Cool. Yeah. All right. And smart thing Carpe does, and it's just like when you're Widow, um, switch angles a lot, so the enemy team doesn't, know where you are, and that's what he does here. Because he saw the last time, right? Two people went to go get him because they knew where he was, and so now he's switching. And actually, Monkey takes his place. I love the fusion surround, and then Diva doing her protection thing. Alright, so now they've got it surrounded, so now they're just looking, right? They're not initiating anything until they see a play. They're not poking. Like, everyone on Fusion is full health right now. It's crazy, right? They're running Zenyatta Brig, and yet they're all full health, right? That's using cover properly. That's letting the proper people scout, right? Tracer is not, she can't see anything. She can see now, but she didn't see anything that was happening. Her team was feeding her information, right? Scouting is of the utmost important in any comp. And this is, I bet Poco was probably giving them something. Brig was probably seeing something, but probably more so Poco because he can just peek out and DM and then go back in. Um, and see, like, Winston has no idea. He's inside. He has no idea what's going on. He's just trusting his team to feed him the proper information. And they're doing what you guys, hey, dive Mega, or dive main, or dive roller coaster kind of thing, right? They're learning. They know their map call outs for their team, and that's all he needs. Okay, you told me to go over there. I'm going. I'm trusting my team. So let's see what they look for here. So he got found out by Tracer, I think, unless they may have called the Zen and he walked in there anyway and happened to just walk into Tracer. So yeah. So we saw. It looked like to me, if I had to guess what happened in the comms there. Yeah, so I don't think he saw Tracer, but I think someone probably called him, and he probably said he was going to get Zen, but he has Primal, so he's going to just go in because he knows he's not going to die and try and get the kill. So it doesn't matter if it's perfectly timed at this point because he has Primal. So he just wants to go and cause disruption, which is what Primal's used for. And Carpe eventually does follow up. Like, Carpe has no idea what's going on right now until, like, I think Sato just called the dive as he was pressing shift. I think that's what happened. And so Carpe's late, but that's fine. He does eventually. No, he doesn't get there, but he was heading there. So, but now, now he's off. So now he sees that Poco's on a target, so now he's with the dive target, on whoever Poco was on.
60 seconds remaining.
And now it's just clean up. Wonder why Hip didn't trench there when he got dove. Did they call a dry fight, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, he was the only one with his ult at that point. They might
Yeah.
have just been saving.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Fusion had basically all theirs.
Mm-hmm. And it was a good fight for them because they only used Primal too. So the dry fight wasn't as successful as they had hoped. They probably wanted to get more out of that dry fight. Alright, so we see why did Carpet take so much damage? Oh, he takes a Hanzo shot. Okay.
30 seconds remaining.
Alright, so the first time we see Carpet with the team, I think it's, I don't know, I can't tell you why. They're probably just planning on using their ults on one person and destroying them.
Nerf this.
Yeah, so we see right there that there was an obvious dive called, and probably just a go in, pop 5 ults, kill everybody dive. Because they popped 4, no 3, at the same time. So they probably know they have ult advantage, and they know they can just go, yep, GG. Yeah, so Solo jumps at the same time as they rally, so they're obviously hard committing here. So I think, yeah, I think they're just straight up just going for the Zen. So it didn't look, though, yeah, it looked like that was just a dive of, hey, we're causing chaos. Yeah, Winston's just in there, as we said before, he's there as a distraction. Pogo throws bomb at the same time, and they pop rally, and they're going to follow in after him.
Pass into the iris.
I'll show them. Time's up.
So they knew they had ult advantage there, and they all just press Q.
Remaining. Overtime. 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Alright. So tell me about this situation. What would you be thinking as the dive team?
Dive high ground so that they disperse. Who makes a mistake?
Where's
Okay.
the Ana?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Have our diva scout real quick before we make a decision.
That's a great thing to do. Something that probably could do 100% of the time and always be safe. Because everything range she can just eat. Well, so those are all good things. It's not really a right answer. You can break this apart in many different ways. So let's talk about that dive high ground thing. What are we looking for when we dive high ground? What's our intention?
Push them off.
Okay. So what kind of dive is that?
Hard dive. Soft dive.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I knew you were gonna get it. I'm terrible at 50-50s too. That's why I don't gamble. I play like the nickel machines.
Dude, I'd lose all my money by now.
Dude, I swear I'm terrible. Terrible. I'm terrible at luck somehow. I don't know how that happens, but I actually lose at luck. I am so unskilled at luck. But yeah, soft dive. The keys to a soft dive, like that indicate that you want a soft dive, is that you just want to move them from somewhere. And but the big thing is, we're not intending to kill. It's nice if we do, but we're not intending to kill. We just want the space. We want them either off that space or we want that space for ourselves. Your choice. It's, just depends on the situation. I don't know if Fusion wants the space or not. They may or may not. Who knows? But I can probably guarantee they want them off the space. You don't. That's a lot of damage that dive can take going in. Where is Soon? He's down there. Where is Hanzo? Okay, Hanzo's up there. So yeah, that's a lot of damage, right? That's your soldier can't get through easily. Your Brig nor your Zen can get through easily. So it's a pretty risky play to just leave Hanzo up there on high ground. He's pretty scary. So yeah, we want them off of that. So yeah, soft dive, push them off because and that's probably what they're going. Like Carpe's going around, so you have Winston, Diva, Tracer, and somewhat Soldier, and Zenyatta that can like deal damage up there, while there's Zen's on the low ground, Soon's on the low ground. So it's a kind of a 5v4 on that high ground. They're just Fusion has a lot more help in this than Paris does, so they're going to probably be forced to leave if they were to soft dive that. So let's see what they do. I imagine they're gonna wait for Carpe to say, hey, up. No, they just leave, yeah. So they know what's up, so they just leave. They don't even want to give that all charge. So yeah, like, yeah. So it worked minimally. Like you soft dive like a a goal of soft diving is to also get some more charge. So you would like to go soft dive and get some more charge if you could, but you know, this is also good. Neither team gets all charge, and that's fine. So we see they've decided to stage on this low ground right here. This is fine, because we're going to see in a minute what they want to do. So staging on low ground is fine if you like. You don't have to high power ground. It's just 9 times out of 10 beneficial, but like you can, as long as you can get to where you want to, staging low ground is fine, and it's fine because there's 100% cover here. It's just Tracer over there. She's not going to be able to like kill in this situation. Everyone's too bundled up. Alright. So they saw the rotation. They've scouted that Anna and Brig are on high ground, and Hanzo. Alright. You can see that obvious. No, that was a halt. Never mind. Watch this beauty of a play.
Routing power to forward shield. Get through this. Damn. I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Boop. He's dead. He is dead. Pogo tries to come save him. No dice. Alright. He was intending to dive that high ground, but she knocks him off his trajectory and kills his momentum and drops him in front of her team. So that's, you know, that's catching the dive. You stopped it by using a cooldown, and even better, you got a kill. So beautiful play behind in there. So we saw, you know, they had rotated, they scouted, and they saw, hey, there's 3 people on point, we can dive them. So they choose to try and dive, but the Eternal reacted well to it. And so now they just back up. And Tracer, we see Tracer again. She didn't retreat in with her team. And the Eternal know this, actually. They seem to have a hunch that Tracer didn't leave, so they're still looking for him. And so Fusion decide to do something else, right? You don't have to go the same way. You just had to just rotate through the right side, making Eternal make a rotation, make Eternal do something different, right? So this is another way you can expose a weakness. Make the enemy team do something that make the enemy team do something is really it. So we see they rotate to choke, and Carpe again splits off and does his own thing. Always misdirection, always applying pressure from different directions.
Defense matrix activated.
Right. Again, gets moved off his trajectory. All right, they're stopping his dives beautifully. But in that chaos, Carpe heard the dive and he goes in for an off-angle kill. So fight is on. Winnable. Auto falls because of a good move.
Let's try that again. Time to raise my APM.
Alright, so what do they elect to do here? Okay, so they're still looking for a kill. Okay. So what do you think was called right here? Let's look at the movement of the players.
Time to raise my APM.
What do you think?
Probably force out Fortify so that they can pressure the Orisa.
Yeah, right? Something. Yeah. Very good. The obvious target here was the Orisa. For whatever reason, the Force Fortify or whatever. And Paris, they saw that, which is I am uh impressed. Like the brig reacted so quick. She armor packs the Arista too. Just to they all knew that Arista call here was called. So it's again pro reaction time. So they protect, and they didn't stay. They knew they couldn't kill, so they leave. Right? Diva leaves, Poco leaves, and Carpe leaves.
Here you go. Gotcha.
Brig comes over to help, all that, So you see that they're not forcing it. They went for the dive. They saw they couldn't do it, and so they leave. Right? And then you just if they could have it their way, they would just reset and do it again on someone else or the same person. You know. But soon is all there's also an enemy phase where she's thinking the same thing, right? She's also thinking, hey, I need to make a play. I'm the playmaker of the team, so she's also hunting and doing things like Harpe is, right? And she gets a post bomb stick onto alarm, right? So people are, the tracers are actively looking for in the midst of the chaos that their team is making, or like in Eternals, uh, from Eternals' view, they're just chilling and surviving until the DPS make plays, while Fusion with dive, they're actively doing things. They're also surviving, but actively surviving. They're forcing mistakes and they're forcing cooldowns and then getting out and then doing it again, all the while making a distraction for their tracer. So the both teams' goal is to do something to give them their tracer like an advantage. Paris Eternal's win condition is just to survive a really long time until our tracer does something, while Fusion is make a distraction so our tracer can do something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's in line with what the comps want to do, right? Arista wants to sit still, and Winston wants to move. So and you see they're just waiting, right? There's no. I want you guys to see how they're just waiting for opportunities. They're just waiting for things to happen, waiting on the pieces to fall in place or to force them into place. So, the openings can happen, right? Carpe's just trying to survive. The Brig's chasing him, so he's just leaving. He's not going in there always trying to shoot people, right? He's waiting on dive calls. He's waiting on new scouting information. The Brig and the Zen are back here. Well, the Zen was back here. The Brig Diva are trying to survive. Zen was back there trying to survive. They're just trying to poke, make things happen, rotate, make the enemy team rotate. Bust shields, just things to just cause chaos and to allow for an opportunity for a dive call to be called. So Monkey's back now. He goes in, he calls for a dive, and you see he said, I'm diving. Diva comes in, Carpe comes in. You can just hear the comms. He called a dive. And you see them react to it. And you see how they're just trusting the call, right? They don't see everything. Like Diva was looking at Soldier, or at least I think she was at that point. Not anymore, I don't think. She is now. Okay, yeah, he had no idea that she was flying away from Soldier by the time that dive call was made. And so in the middle of his flight, he just goes on a dive call. Just trusting your teammates. If someone makes a dive call, just go with it. Whether it ends up killing you guys or not, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that all of you are working towards an objective is what's going to help you guys succeed and dive. Enemy in anything, but that's what you're wanting, is to all be working towards one objective. Alright, so let's see how they set up. Alright, so Monkey Diva to the right. Tracer's going left. So they sat there scouting, they know they're all on point, so now they can kind of move up. Alright, so they're rotating. I would be shocked to see a dive called right now. Because why?
Everyone's rotating.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so they're just chilling. See how patient they are? They're just waiting. It's fine. It's been 45 seconds since they got to this point, and they're just waiting, and it's okay. They're just like, the more you rush it, the more you're just going to feed. So might as well wait the whole map for the perfect time, rather than just go at whatever time, um, and feed your brains out. Like you can see, they're trying to figure out how they want to attack this. Carpe was going up top left. He said he didn't like it. He goes main. Maybe they talked about something. Now he's going to the right. Right? They're trying to misdirect Paris Eternal's eyes right now. So now it looks like they're kind of ready. Because Carpe's committing to the right over there. Again. Again. Such a good diva.
This happens twice. I may tilt.
What? This is the third time it happened.
Ah, well, I'm just yeah. By this by this point, I'm
Oh, if
jumping.
it, yeah, that's a good anti-dive play from the diva.
60 seconds remaining.
So you can imagine at this point, you know, at their first attack failed. Winston didn't get the jump, so now they have to improvise. Right? This is, this is dive. We're in the chaotic stage. We're making up this plan as we go. There's nothing that happens from here on out is planned. They're just reacting at this point. So he decides to dive on high ground. He gets bashed off. The life of a main tank. But in that chaos, Carpe gets a kill onto the diva. Oh,
60 seconds remaining.
oh before she, yeah, that's being a playmaker. Being a,
cheeky.
yeah.
I've got you in my sights.
They just don't want Sato to do anything.
Mm-mm.
Pass into the iron.
And we see Tracer just off angling, being a nuisance. And they just take this. There was,
Victory.
I missed the, was it on defense? Diva doesn't get bomb, right? No.
60 seconds. Overtime.
Yeah. What's this? What's this?
The brig.
You want to talk about? Yeah, you want to talk about trusting your teammates here? I love this when I first saw it, dude. We would do this when we had widows, like with the enemy widow, when we were playing goats, and they would bring out a widow. I would, my brig would hold shield up for me, and I would just right click and duel a widow through the shield, through the brig shield. Look at this chat of a blade. Look at that. Look at that chat of a play. That's trusting your teammates. Look at that. Beautiful, dude. I love that.
All right, new guys. That's what we expect.
It's really easy to do.
I know. I do it all the time.
Yeah, especially in quick play. I wanted to look at Nixel Dorado, but I think we'll be good. So yeah. Any questions about that?
No.
That make any sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. The takeaway, since it's not the traditional dive you would see, so it's not like we probably wouldn't run it with rig. Not yet anyway. It's but what I guess what I yeah the takeaway would really be we could see the off angling, we could see the staging, but really we can see the patience as well. Is what I really want you guys to take away from it. Like, because I know the first time we ran it, it looked like we felt we had to do something when you don't. It's okay to wait for an opportunity to dither around and just wait for that perfect time to come. Um, and to just, we saw that the main tank and the off tank's job was to just make space and someone, well, to make space, to bring out resources. Like they got in and then with full intention of just leaving sometimes. They just maybe want to force a Risa Fortify or something. Force an Autonade, whatever. That's all they wanted to do, and then they got out. Then this whole time, Tracer is in the back, uh, on the other end. Like she always wants to be on the other side of the like pincering the team. So whichever side that Diva Monkey are on, Tracer wants to be on the opposite side. And she's looking for something. And then if we see, and she's always in place for a dive call to be called. So we could see, like, we saw them collapse on many people because an obvious call was made. So, but they were patient. They didn't just run up and try and dive someone because they could. And you notice that they never dove a tank. It was always a squishy. Like we saw in the first one they did, but that's because the tank had the health of a squishy at that point, so that's perfectly fine. But yeah, you don't want to dive someone with armor because that mitigates too much damage. You're not going to get the kill off really quick. You want to try and dive a squishy. Like we saw them attack the Zen a lot. You can also dive a DPS if he's out of position. Other than that, you guys can move like Reinhardt and go through just different routes in the map to get to somewhere just to make the enemy team do a rotation. Especially at this level, they're not going to do any good rotation. So usually right after you come out from that opposite side, they're looking at you with deers and headlights, and there's probably someone wide open to dive because they have no idea how to rotate. So it's rotating at this level is really good, and and just in general, it's really good to learn because it opens up things, and then you know as Tracer, always be switching your point angles of attack if you can.
Hmm.
So yeah, we didn't really see I'm glad we got to see dives executed, but I would have liked to have seen it like with a Genji or whatnot as well with Tracer, just so you could see what it looks like us just a full collapse. So we got to see three people, so that's fine, and that's what it looks like anyway as well. It's just really cool when you get to see like the old Lucio Mercy dive comp where 6 people dove onto one person. Used to be really fun. But yeah, that is it. So plans coming up. I do want to get some
Scrim
tryouts
Friday.
going.
Scrim Friday.
Probably Monday. You guys, we're probably going to keep doing the map call out thing on Friday. I think we're going to make that consistent since you guys seem to like that.
Hmm.
And it is really helpful. So I think we're going to just make
Yes.
that a Friday thing. But we will be starting scrimming back Monday since we do have a so tryout support, and then let me stop there.